have a good time. That's what I keep on saying till I lose my mind. Feel like a man in a series, shine like a moon in the last sky. Can you believe it till the end of your life? Go with some bags into a room. That's enough for satisfaction. Already know how to have fun. No need of explanation. What's worth of nothing? What's worth of nothing? Surely that doesn't matter. Storyteller. What's
Now that people can actually play. All right, here we
Nerves.
go.
It's okay.
Raid race in 3, 2, 1, go.
Meow.
Oh,
Oh.
bro.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to anyone who's watching to the Appliance Alliance raid race today. We are doing a fun little activity between some members of the team. Oh, one of the streams is already frozen. Love to see that.
Wonderful.
Let me just refresh that. We have 2 teams racing today. One is our Appliance Alliance, our clan within our group. Let me just fix this. Everything's breaking.
Oh.
That's fine. I can fix it.
Sir.
I can save it.
Sir.
Oh,
Sir.
and 7's on an ad break.
Sir.
Everything's breaking! This is fine. It's just the opening encounter. It's fine. This is fine. Okay, so we are doing
And we're back.
And we're back. We are doing a raid race here. Why are you... Stop doing that. Oh my god, now of all times. I spent so much time trying to get this to work, and now it doesn't want to. There we go. Okay. He's just doing an ad break. It's fine. Anyways, one more time into the bridge. Everything's breaking.
They can just say what they're doing.
Raid race today. The Appliance Alliance raid team, led by Darth Jar Jar, with Jack the Psycho, JC Denton, N7, Lemons, and Sem, are competing in a Vow of the Disciple race against the team of Weeaboo Jones, Magic Gus, and Grim. You'll notice that one team only has 3 members in it.
Trace.
That is because these raids, if you haven't done them before, are normally a 6-man encounter activity. They're endgame, high-end content, but Jones and his team are what we like to call elitist. They are high-skill, high-end players who like doing low-man activities. And after a little bit of discussion, they have agreed that this will be a fun challenge to see if they can keep up and outpace a full 6-man team. Joining me today is Sun OG, who's going to help host and talk about the race and what's going on. Thank you for joining me.
Hello. Sun OG5 here, your co-host speaking. My co-host Half Hung here did invite me today to just go ahead and see what's going on with these 2 groups, and I'm not gonna lie, it's seeming like the 3-man is doing quite a fine job right now.
They're doing something interesting by having one person stay on the payload. To talk about this encounter real quick, this is the opening encounter. This is, without a doubt, one of the most beloved activities in all of gaming, an escort mission.
Easily.
Everyone loves escort missions almost as much as mandatory stealth missions, right?
I mean, honestly, if I could do this every single day that I play this game, it would probably make life a lot easier.
Right? So this particular encounter, the goal of it is you have the payload, which you must escort to the end of the encounter, as it is the key to open the door into the main body of the raid. The problem is it likes to stop 6 or 7 times along this path, at which point a bunch of enemies spawn. You kill the enemies. There's some items that spawn on the ground. Pick them up. Once you pick up 9 of these items and deliver them to the payload, it will move on to the next section. As we stated, it does that about 6 or 7 times, so it is not a particularly fast encounter, which is why it's probably one of the most hated opening encounters in all of Destiny raids.
Now, one thing I would like to mention, we do actually see on these screens where a pervading darkness is coming around the contestants.
Yeah.
So basically what that does is where if you do not pick up these items that they need to find throughout the area, you will get a debuff called pervading darkness, which eventually will lead to your death. If
Also,
it counts.
being near the payload will remove that buff as well. So pervading darkness, like you're saying, is going to be a reoccurring theme throughout this entire raid. Through multiple encounters, there will be ways in which you can acquire Pervading Darkness. At 10 stacks, as you get closer to 10, your screen becomes more and more black, so you stop being able to see. And at 10, you're dead. So they need to balance pushing out and killing ads as quickly as possible while occasionally coming back to the payload to cleanse those stacks. So it's a balance of you want to move as fast as possible and get pushed through, but you also can't get too far ahead.
Now, as you can see, the 6-man team is easily breezing through this part. Even though they may be slightly behind the 3-man, they are not dying. They have no issues currently. However, the 3-man is actually doing a pretty good job at not only keeping up.
The opening door, but the problem that they have now is that they have to wait for the key to open. Oh! Or maybe not. Oh, looks like he might have glitched through the door.
Oh my god.
So what happens there is you still have to do certain things to trigger certain things to happen, right? You can't completely skip this opening because you need to hit certain triggers. They hit those triggers, and rather than waiting for the payload to move like we're seeing on N7's side, Jones's team clipped through the door. Someone still has to stay with the payload to get it to do the thing, but he can push forward, and now you see Grim is moving even faster. Her goal is now to checkpoint into the next encounter and to drag the team in rather than all of them have to run there.
Now, strangely enough, it seems like Pervading Darkness is actually starting to come off of Jones as he's in this area, which is new to me.
So that means that either once, I'm not 100% sure, but either once you get into this area, the stacks stop, or he's got one team who finished escorting it, and so they got there, and they did this so that Grim could get ahead while one person stayed behind to finish escorting.
Wow, that is quite the strategy.
Oh yeah, that's very fast paced. On the N7 side, however, we see they're in the final section, clearing out real quick. N7 going for the support build here with Divinity. His goal is going to be applying that div bubble to give as many of his teammates as possible that damage debuff and crit bubble so that they can easily crit and do a increased damage.
Yeah, they are definitely clearing those enemies out.
And there you go. You see Jar Jar and Jack sword swinging their way as fast as possible. Oh, Jones just got pulled. Okay, so Grim hit the next encounter. And so the Jones team has activated the first encounter. This is an interesting encounter. It is not a boss encounter. It is called the Acquisition.
Now, Half Hung, I'm wondering how they're going to actually be able to take care of this, because usually there's 6 rooms in this particular encounter. So I'm wondering, are they going to split into where it's 2 per, or?
So for the 6-man team, normally what happens is you have 3 big totems that you have to guard, because if enemies attack them, they can speed up the encounter rate and cause a wipe faster. So you got to babysit these totems, but at the same time, for a 6-man team, normally you'd have 3 people babysitting and 3 people wandering around. Those 3 people wandering around are going to be getting call-outs from the babysitting side as to where a knight spawns that they have to kill. Then which room, there's 9 rooms hidden around the encounter that they have to run into. And then inside of those rooms, there is 2 specific enemies. You need to kill one of the 2 to get a symbol. When you have 3 symbols, you can pick a totem, and then you can activate that totem. We do that 3 times throughout the course of the encounter to get the clear. So we have to activate all 3 totems. Now, in a 6-man team, that's pretty easy, but in a 3-man team, that means someone's watching multiple totems while you have 1 or 2 people trying to push to get through these rooms as fast as possible.
And it looks like the 6-man team is just getting to the first encounter. Man, they got a little bit to go.
So yeah, we see on N7's side, they have split up. Everyone's taken their positions. N7 looks like he's going to be the roamer for his team. Whereas Jones is also the roamer on his side. Jones is racing through. He's using a Solar Bonk Titan. Ooh. I think you have a little history of the Solar Bonk, don't you?
You could say that. I was quite the bonker back in my day.
Those little mini throw-in hammers do some serious work. So we can see on N7's screen here what the symbols look like, and Jones is looking at them as well. You have these totems where the first symbol is going to pop up to tell you what side of the room the knight is on. So for N7, there was a triangle to say on the dark half of the room there's a knight. The second symbol shows you which room to run to of those 9 that we were talking about. and the third symbol on the bottom will tell you whether you need to kill the knight or the captain on the left or the right.
Now, with this particular build that I see Jones using, it's not only crazy damage, however, it also has immense survivability.
Oh
So
yeah.
he's making a great choice with that. Now, on N7's side, I also see that he is it looks like Solar Warlock, correct?
Looks like he went for the well. He went full
Mm.
support, so he's going to do everything in his power to make sure as many teammates cannot die as possible.
And they are
Jones is a
taking
little bit
care
more of
of
a
those
selfish
knights.
build because he has less people to worry about. So he's
Yes.
focused all on his survival and his output, whereas N7 is thinking, how can I keep my team alive and give them as many buffs as possible?
Correct. Now I'm wondering how Jones and them are gonna be able to take care of each of these pillars, considering you have to have so many people looking at different things.
Because you have to go into 3 different rooms to get 3 different symbols, and then you have to look at the 3 pillars to see which of the 3 has those 3 symbols, and then you got to shoot all 3 symbols on that pillar at the same time, effectively.
So many symbols, so many objectives. Oh
Oh,
my
and I
gosh!
forgot! This encounter is one of the 2 encounters of the raid that has champions, unstoppable ogres, which
Oh.
Jones's team has chosen to blatantly ignore. They're
Oh
not even
my.
looking at ogres. That's the nice thing about our 6-man team is they're gonna have people with multiple different loadouts who are each able to deal with that. So there's gonna be 2 or 3 people on N7's team, each of whom can deal with the ogres to drop them, whereas Jones is like, screw it, I'll just ignore the problem. It's only a problem if you're looking at it, right?
It's only a problem if you see it. It's
Exactly.
never
If you're
a
not
problem
looking
if
at
you
it, it's
don't.
not a problem.
Now, I can say, N7's team, the fact that they're able to not only choreograph everything that they're doing so efficiently, but also be able to put into the chat exactly what they need to be looking at and all their responses. It's just, it's incredible.
This is one of those raids where the ability to type into text chat in the game became a huge benefit because previous raids, like, you'd have some moments here and there where it could be kind of nice, but this raid in particular, because you have so many callouts, being able to write it down really quick, just enter, type it in the symbol's name, hit it, and it's posted, makes life so much easier because otherwise you're trying to keep track of, you've got 3 different people making 3 different callouts at the exact same time. It just becomes a mess of noise if you're not able to drown it out. And
Right.
communication is paramount. So knowing when to talk and when to stop and what to listen for is huge.
Kind of like what we're doing right now.
Something like that, except I'm doing a lot more talking than I probably should be.
Right, but it's fine. It's fine. We need to keep everybody entertained and keep everybody focused. So just to let you know,
We have a death and 7's down!
my
Okay, good news
goodness.
is that it does not necessarily mean a wipe. In the raids, every player gets a token that they can use to revive a teammate 1 time. So you have a total of 6 revives throughout the course of an encounter, and at the end of every encounter, it does reset. So each encounter, you get a new batch of tokens, or if the entire team wipes and they have to restart, they get new tokens as well. But that means 1 death. That can be problematic. Thankfully, for the 6-man team, it's not as bad. But if we see Jones's team is cleared. Oh my!
goodness, already, that's so fast.
Wow, that was amazing. If they get, this part's gonna be tricky though. So
Gonna be
if
very,
Jones's
very rough.
team gets a death, it is so much more punishing just because it slows them
There's only
down
3.
exponentially more. N7 should be finishing up soon, I imagine. So, what do you think?
Now,
I'm
for those
thinking... Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, for those who don't know, in raids you actually do get your revives back once you've completed the encounter. As you can see underneath their health bar, you can actually see a no ghost revive icon right there, saying that they cannot revive by themselves or more than the allotted time that they've been given. So, considering that, once they get through this encounter, they will be able to revive again, just for all of those who may not be used to raids or certain encounters in Destiny.
So we see a bit of a switch up here as Jones and his team enter the second major encounter, Caretaker. He went for looks like a trace rifle, the tractor cannon, and strand titan. That's an interesting pick right there.
That's a big boy.
N7's team, I think they're on their final pillar now, so they should be wrapping up relatively soon.
So, question for you. Do you call the little things that the caretaker shoots, which is the very large man that...
Flying worms? Yeah,
Jones
they're
is,
worms.
Oh, you call them worms
They're
or bats?
worms. They're flying worms
Okay.
of death. So this is interesting because Jones's team has less people to do damage, but they're going to be super min-max. They also have less people to do mechanics, but because they have less, they're going to be really focused on doing as fast as possible. Whereas N7's team, they're obviously still going to be really focused on speed and stuff, but because they have more people, more split up, you'd think they have the advantage. So it's interesting to see how fast Jones is moving here.
Right. Now, speaking of mechanics, basically the way that this second encounter works is that they are going to have to pretty much do what they did in the first encounter when it comes to the giant pillar in the middle. However, the difference between this one, they have to go into the rooms. They have to split into teams. Usually they have one person go in and one person stay out. One will read what's on the inside, and the other one will shoot each individual marker. Now, considering that, they only have 3 people currently on this 3-man team. And also, I see that N7's team has just cleared the first encounter.
There you go. Okay.
Congratulations. Good job.
Yeah.
Now, to continue on how this encounter works, pretty much what they're going to be doing after they get done with all of the symbols and everything like that, they will go to one plot on one side and start shooting the boss. Now, once they've gotten to that plot and they've done enough damage, they will move on to the next one. And if they need it, the next one after that. There are 3 in total. So I'm wondering if they're going to be able to get enough damage on this boss. But it seems like
they've already gotten half on the first phase. Yeah. So that's the interesting thing. One of the things they really got to keep an eye on is the caretaker, the boss. He wants to move up to that totem, same from the first encounter, and activate it. If he does, that's a wipe. So they've got to constantly keep him stunned. Oh no, Jones has suffered. Oh, we've got our first wipe. Oh no. Okay, that means we're back on an even footing. We are back on an even footing here. Okay, see, that is the real risk of Jones's team, where they have massive advantage in speed, but a wipe is devastating.
Devastating.
So, the things they got to keep an eye out for is, normally you have 3 teams of 2 for this encounter, right? So you have a team babysitting the boss, because if he gets to that pillar and activates it, it's a guaranteed team wipe. So normally you have a babysitting team who shoots the boss first in the face and then in the back, and if you do it really closely together, he'll stagger, like we see on N7 screen here. His team, him and Darth Jar Jar, one of them shoots the face, one of them shoots the back. The boss staggers and stands still for a moment, which gives them a time to clear out those worms in the sky. It also keeps the boss from moving. So they're really focused on that. Then you would have your ad clear team, whose goal is literally just kill ads as fast as possible, right? Don't let them be a problem for anyone else.
Right.
And then you have your indoor team, like you were talking about. They got to go in, grab 3 symbols, and come back out to activate them. And you have to activate all 9 symbols on your totem to get to that damage phase. So that's means
a lot of damage.
Right. And you have to... What's really frustrating is that when you're in that room, you get those stacks of pervading darkness you talked about earlier. Like, those build up in that room. So you can't stay in there forever. And the door closes on you when you go in. So you have to make a call out for someone to open the door to let you out.
Yep. Let me out. Let me out now.
Yeah. Panic. So for the 6-man team, that's easy. 2 teams of 2. You have one in the room. One's hanging out outside to let you in. And as soon as you come out, he goes right on in, right? So you can constantly back and forth. With the 3-man team, you have to bounce back and forth. Like, Jones has to babysit the boss, kill ads, and the other 2 are probably going to be mostly focused on getting the symbols, which means that when they get to damage phase, which they're already at again, they're going, oh man, how did they get here so fast? Oh, I love the strand jump there.
Now, I do want to go ahead and say, considering the fact that they wiped, what do we say always after that? There goes flawless.
Oh,
correct?
Yeah, that's
there
goes flawless. Granted, N7 died earlier, so they don't have a flawless run either, sadly.
This is very true.
But yeah, no, there's the flawless run. So one of the cool things is the caretaker is technically health gated. If you do it officially, quote unquote, right? You can only do, in theory, a maximum of a third of his health on a floor in those 3 damage spots you were talking about. Then you go up a flight of stairs, and you do all of it all over again. However,
it looks like Fading Darkness is coming on him pretty hard.
However, if you are moved fast enough, you do enough damage quick enough, you can do more than a third of the damage, which both teams managed to do about half damage in a single DPS phase.
Which is incredible considering
that's
Jones's
fantastic.
team is only 3 people.
Yeah, that's how crazy they've min-maxed this team. So they're actually both on pace to kill Caretaker in about the same amount of time. The difference is just how quickly they can get to that DPS phase. And
now,
then,
I can say it seems that Jones, I just noticed this now, he has actually switched
yes.
his primaries and also not only his primaries but his subclasses.
Yep. He went Strand Titan because Banner of War gives you so many crazy buffs for damage. It is absolutely insane. A new artifact aspect? I forget what they call it. Aspect or something.
Aspect,
Strand
artifact,
Titan for this season that they added in. Very, very powerful.
Aspect, smash effect.
And you see he's also using the Tractor Cannon there to give a 30% damage debuff to the enemy. So this team does either 30 or 50. It's something stupid like 35% bonus damage.
Right.
It's the same as I
right.
think a Tether Hunter. It's
Oh
insanely
my.
hard. Yeah,
That is incredibly hard.
Yeah, it is the only. I think Tether Hunter and Tractor Cannon are the 2 biggest debuffs you can apply in the game at the moment. Okay,
Now,
so
it doesn't look like they're using that. It looks like they're all using Strand right now.
they might all be using Strand for the various benefits that come from being on the same class. So they're actually getting to skip the 3rd floor on Jones's team and go straight to Final
wow.
Stand, which is
Better
impressive.
watch those steps.
Yeah, those steps can actually crush you if you're not paying attention to them. But this is theoretically possible. If you do enough damage fast enough, you can skip the 3rd floor, which is good because the 3rd floor, the team on inside doing symbols, each floor, more and more the actual ground itself disappears. So you end up doing this jumping around more and more, and it becomes really frustrating and easy to lose your footing. So if you can skip the 3rd floor,
However, it doesn't look like N7's team is too far behind now.
nope, they're on their damage phase on the 2nd floor. Let's see. Oh! Did we get another wipe? Oh no, he's switching classes. Jones is switching to Warlock midway through for 3rd encounter. Ooh.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, why not?
Hey.
That just means
Whatever
that they have to
floats the
slow down to go to orbit to switch to come back in.
And that might give N7 the exact amount of advantage that they need.
Can they hit Final Stand here? Do they have the ability? Looks like you ran out of div.
Oh, man.
Okay, they have the ability. If they can do the damage here and get to Final Stand, he got some div ammo. No, N7's down. There goes their div. No, come on. All right, they got Final Stand. They got to Final Stand.
Go.
If they can skip the 3rd floor too, by the time N7's team gets back up in there,
They will be on track.
they'll be on track. So you'll see right now what's happening is Jones is waiting to rejoin because they're letting their 3rd player race through the jump puzzle single by themselves.
Oh, very smart.
That
Very
way,
smart.
because if Jones and Gus join now, what's going to happen is they're going to join at the beginning of the jump puzzle, and they're going to have to go through it as well. Where if they just wait for Grim to finish it, they can join in on Grim at the next encounter.
Starting to join
And
now,
we see
and
N7.
N7 is
Hey,
trying
they
to
got it
complete
done
the final
too.
stand.
2
Let's go.
floors for the kill. Let's go.
Okay, so now everybody seems to be just at the same point now.
The difference is that I believe the 3-man team has gotten... Yeah, okay, so they are at 3rd encounter, and 7's team has to do the jump puzzle, but it will not take them long.
All right, so do you think that they're going to go for red borders? No, I'm joking.
No. We talked about it. I thought about throwing that in there to make them just mess with them and go for the red borders, and they mentioned 1 or 2 of them on the 3-man team do not even know where they are located.
Right, now this next encounter actually seems to be something that will be very, very difficult for the 3-man.
This is the one I'm most excited for, I gotta be honest. The Upended Summit. This encounter, if you don't mind me explaining this for a second, this is insane.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So what's going to happen is there's a couple of sets of rooms, and in each room, you get a relic from a previous raid. Those stacks of Pervading Darkness, those are a thing again. As long as you're out and about in the rooms, you're going to get stacks of Pervading Darkness. The way you cleanse that is one person has access to the Aegis shield from Vault of Glass way back in the day. And that shield, you can use the block feature to make a bubble that will cleanse your teammates. One person is going to have I think it's technically called the prism from the Leviathan raid, but we don't call it the
don't
nut.
call it that.
We call it the
nut.
Some people call it
the
other
nut.
things, but I call it the nut. It's technically called, I think, the prism. And when you have that, there is a taken knight that spawns in each room in the same spot. And if you kill him, you can get bonus time, because you'll notice we are on a countdown timer, terminal resonance. So if that timer runs out, that's a wipe. If you let Pervading Darkness stack up, that's a wipe. So you got to use the shield to cleanse Pervading Darkness and the nut to kill the knight to give you more time.
Yes.
Now, go ahead.
And that's a down on their end on 3-man. That's going to definitely be very, very detrimental to their team.
They've gotten a hold of the third buff in the third room, which is the Eye of Riven from the Last Wish raid. That's the final relic that we're going to get. And that one allows you to cleanse a taken node that makes all enemies in the region immune to damage. So as we get to the farther rooms, the third and fourth room, this becomes a mess, because what's going to happen is there are enemies called Glyph Keepers, and there's going to be one that spawns on the left and one that spawns on the right. One of them, when you kill it, can drops symbols that can only be seen by someone with a relic, whereas on the other side, they can only be seen by a person without a relic. So you have to split your team up in a way that one person with and one person without the relic on each side to see the symbols, and you need 2 sets of symbols. You're looking for, between the 2 sets, the symbol that's in common. So if both sides have a stop symbol, that's what you're looking for. And then you got to do that again, so you got to have 2 sets of your symbol to open the door at the end.
Now, with these rooms, it's
I think
3,
we got
4
wipe
rooms?
on the N17. Or is he? Oh no, maybe he just went to orbit.
Oh, I think he's going to be joining back, doing a similar strategy to the 3-man Weeaboo
It looks
Jones
like they
team.
might have. They either got kicked or
no.
someone switched. I'm not 100% sure.
It seems like there's going to be a switch, but we'll see what happens. Now, from what I remember, I do believe that there's either 3 or 4 rooms in this next encounter, correct?
Yeah, there's 4 whole rooms in this encounter. The opening one to kind of teach you about it, and then the next 3, which is where it gets more.
Now it looks like Weeaboo Jones's team is about to be on the final room, which is very, very shocking. Now, we do have N7's team, who is actually kind of struggling at the moment to be able to get their bearings together and get to this last encounter. They actually, from what I was
if they
seeing,
did a similar thing where they had one person do the jump puzzle, and then they're all going to rejoin on him.
now, you would hope so, considering the fact that they are actually quite behind, and Weeaboo Jones's team is very ahead right now.
Oh, yeah. Which is interesting, because when you pick up a relic, and this is what boggles my mind about how they're doing this, when you pick up a relic, you get locked out once you drop it from being able to pick it up again for like 30 seconds, which is why we're seeing these long delays on them in those interim rooms where you can dunk a relic and pick up a new one. They have to wait. They have to dunk it and then wait, which means they got to time when they kill those knights with the nut perfectly to give them the maximum amount of time to work with.
I gotta admit to you, Half Hung, I am bewildered. I am befuddled, flabbergasted.
I don't understand how they've timed this so tightly. This is insane. Okay, N7, it looks like they are at the encounter. They're starting it themselves. So they're at the first of the 4 rooms. Oh, he jumped off the edge. Interesting.
Oh.
I wonder if they're just trying to reset real quick.
Yeah, maybe a
They might have just
strategy.
been doing a reset
May just
once
be that
everyone
N7 dies quite often.
But yeah, you see the Jones side, has to sit here and physically wait to be able to pick up the shield, which means that no one can be cleansed until he can pick it back up.
Oh man, and it looks like N7's team is actually taking the restart route.
Oh, they did it! They did it! Jones's team has cleared it! Oh my god, that is crazy.
So we have only 2 encounters to go, correct?
Jones has only 1. They're going to the final boss.
Oh, wow.
N7 is starting the 3rd encounter now. So one of the interesting things is that because each of them had to hold a relic, and you have to have someone to physically drop it to be able to see one of the sets of symbols, that means that their timing must have been insane, because one person has to grab the relic to enter the room and then drop it to be able to kill the Glyph Keepers and read the symbol callouts, and then wait to pick it up, push forward, kill a dude, drop it again. That just boggles my mind how you can even do
I couldn't do it. I couldn't
My
do it.
God,
Couldn't be
no.
me. Half Hung, do you think that you could
No,
probably
no.
take me a duel
My
on?
brain turns to mush thinking about that.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know if I would have the builds for it, to be honest.
So Jones's team looks like they're taking their time moving ahead. They know they're a little bit ahead here.
So it seems like they're maybe doing a couple of emotes, kind of
They may
getting their
also
bearings.
I think once again they're having one player rush ahead to checkpoint. That way, not all three of them have to go through, because there's a little bit of a jump puzzle and some enemies and stuff you got to kill. But you can kind of circumvent it if you get to the right spot and sword your way across a giant gap.
And what is Jones doing currently? It looked like they were going to kill themselves.
Yeah, because like I said, they're gonna rush ahead, have one person rush ahead to get to the checkpoint, and then they'll just screw around, jump off, and respawn at the encounter.
I see, I see, I see.
Meanwhile, we got N7. They are clearing the second room now, pushing ahead into the third room, making really good time here. This
Good
is
progress.
how normally the encounter goes: is you bouncing the relics back, you got to dunk it, a new player picks it up, and so everyone is going to take a turn grabbing one of the relics, taking a turn with it, pushing ahead.
We got a double rally banner going on via Boo Jones's team. Does that
That's
actually
just a
help?
buff. No, it doesn't actually do anything for you. You only get a benefit from the first. It's mostly just for bragging rights. If I did it. Oh, man,
So how does this next encounter work, Halfong?
Oh, this one, the Rolk encounter. This is an interesting encounter. It's a two-parter. In the first part, what's going to happen is you got to clear all the ads. Glyph Keepers will spawn, and you got to kill the Glyph Keepers to get symbols. Meanwhile, Rolk has a giant crystal that spawns over his head. So one person immediately shoots that and breaks it to get a specific buff called the Leeching Force. With that, they can stand on the plate in the back middle, and they will cause two crystals to spawn on the back left and right walls. The other two players can then shoot those crystals, and now the buff will be duplicated and transferred to them. In a normal six-man team, you would do this again so that you end up with 3 people with the Leeching Force buff. Then, 2 of those players are going to... Normally, you see Rolk teleports around and laser beams, and you kind of don't want to get hit by that. It hurts.
Yeah, because it also gives you pervading darkness, right?
Right. It does. It hurts. It causes the debuff to happen, and it's just bad. But if you have the Leeching buff, then jumping into the laser beam will convert it into... I can't remember the name of it. Oh, goodness.
Oh, Lord.
Leeching Force turns into Emanating Force. That's what
And
it is.
it looks like N7's team is on the final
Oh,
room
they
of
are.
the
They are
encounter.
on the 4th room now. They're making hella good time. So once Jones's team has 2 players with Emanating, there are 6 pillars out there that they're going to be having to dunk at. And so you need someone who can read and identify which pillars for them to run up to and dunk. And you got to dunk at 6 different pillars, and not all at the same time, but throughout the course of this encounter, you got to dunk at 6 pillars to push Rolk's shield back and push him up the stairs. Which it looks like they already did that. That is insane. Once they get him upstairs, this is insane. Once they get him upstairs, now they get to have fun with Daddy Rolk. Rolk loves to punt your ass into the next dimension.
And I mean, some people are into that.
Some people love it. So they're going to be dodging Rolk. Whenever Rolk does his dash, he is then going to leave his glaive behind. One player can shoot that glaive, break it, and it will leave behind a symbol and give that player the Leeching Force, just as before. They're going to turn that into Emanating, and then someone else is going to read out the symbol to let them know which of the 4 pillars they need to dunk at. Dunking at one of the pillars makes one of Rolk's either shoulders or hips vulnerable. Your team breaks all 4 shoulders and all 4 hips after 4 dunks, and then you can enter the damage phase. In damage, everything that Rolk is doing, he's going to do, but more aggressively. If you think that he likes to punt people now, wait till you see him go all out. It is not fun to be in his way.
No, it is not. And honestly, I was always subject to him punting me across the universe.
Sorry to interrupt, but it looks like N7's team has in fact cleared the 3rd encounter themselves and are on their way to the final boss.
Oh, let's go. So they don't have too much longer to go, though, because it looks like Jones's team is making record time right now.
Yep. Jones is about to enter the first true damage cycle here as soon as they can break these parts. And N7 is just got to race over there and start the encounter. So they're a little bit behind, but they're actually keeping hella good pace. Look at that sword swing.
They are
Oh,
doing
he got it. He
absolutely
landed
insane
it.
right now. Now I'm wondering if the rest of his team can actually keep up.
They
in
don't
the
need
same
to.
way
Here's
that
the thing.
he's
Just
doing.
like before, all he has to do is start the encounter and everyone dies and they're checkpointed. Most of them, it looks like, managed to get the sword swing, but 2 or 3 of them stayed behind. So they're just all going to wipe and reset so that they can all be together.
Oh, and here comes our favorite part if they'll allow it.
Looks like
Oh.
Jones's team has gotten him down to about 40%.
There he goes. There goes in 7. Punted across the universe.
Oh, okay. Jones was not able to get a 1 phase, so now they're going to have to run back down those stairs and reset. And this is important and something that is always fun to mess with new players. If you don't run down the stairs back to the beginning area, Rolks will regen that shield over the entire area, and it will knock you into the next galaxy. It throws you off the map at full speed. So you have to run back down the stairs and reset.
It's truly a breathtaking experience.
Oh my god. So Jones and N7, they're both going to start a full cycle here. The difference is that Jones's team has completed 1 damage phase, N7 has not. So they are not far behind, and with the 6-man team, they're going to be able to move a little bit faster, get those dunks a little bit quicker, but it's going to be tough.
Does N7 have colorblind mode on?
Yes, N7 actually likes to play with one of the various colorblind modes because some of the members of his community are in fact colorblind, and this allows them to better see when he does his streams.
Oh, well, that's very thoughtful.
It is very nice of him. Oh, man. So there's those crystals you see up in the sky that they're shooting to duplicate. And then some of the team members are going to start jumping in those laser beams to change their buff. Someone's going to be doing call-outs of what the symbols are and where to dunk. This is, again, this raid is all about communication. Knowing who is where and where to dunk is crucial.
I can't say it's neck and neck, though, just because it seems that Weeaboo Jones' team is taking things out, but they did just have a death on their team.
I wonder if that was a planned death or whether they just got overwhelmed by ads.
Well, either way, it still could be actually very detrimental to their squad.
It could be even worse depending on who died. If they were the one with the buff, you can technically lose the buff 1 time and then regain it. It looks like that might have been what happens. The person with the buff, there is a timer on it, and if you run out of time, it kills you. So that might have been what happened was their buff ran out of time, they died, they lost it, and now they had to regain it, which means another round of Glyph Keepers, another big wave of ads. It throws all of your timing off, too, so everyone's out of pace of where they think they want to be. That can definitely slow down a team like that a lot.
You cannot have mistakes like that happen too often.
It looks like N7's team should probably be on the last set here, I think. So they'll be able to start damage phase soon.
But it seems like if Weeaboo Jones' team gets that damage step up, then
they might be able to hit final stand here.
Yep.
We are at... Wow, we've been doing this for maybe 40 minutes now? Not even? Jeez, these teams are insanely fast. Even for a 6-man team, under an hour clear of this raid is genuinely impressive.
That's
the 3rd encounter tends to be death for a lot of teams.
I think the fastest that I've ever completed is maybe about 55 minutes.
Something around there, I'd say, is for me as well. If you can hit 50 minutes, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
That 3rd encounter, like I said, it is painful if you haven't gotten some experience in on it. It can shut teams down because of juggling those relics, all of the extra communication. You have to, call out symbols. You have to remember symbols. And you're moving so fast, and it's a combat encounter, too. It's not even a boss encounter. It's a combat-focused encounter.
Now, remember, there were a lot of people who actually did this on day 1, and I do believe N7 was a part of that team.
He was part of it.
1.
I don't think he got the day 1 clear. If he did, he got it, very, very late into it. But,
it looks like N7's team is about to be on damage.
Yes, they are. They are at the top, just as Jones. Jones is just a moment behind him. But, again, they got 1 damage phase in already. N7's team, however, is at the top of the steps, so that means they're going to be working on doing all of this. So
And they do have a 6-man, so they might actually be able to one phase. This is actually looking pretty
if
close
they
right
can
now.
pump out the damage, it's not unreasonable. The question is, do they have it? So it looks like N7's the one gathering the buffs for their team. Someone else is going to be doing his callouts.
Correct. Oh man, this is looking really, really, really close. Very tight. Close run.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, my legs are
Nobody's getting
shaking
punted.
right now. I'm nervous.
Everybody's avoiding the kicks.
That is one of the fun things is Rolk likes to he telegraphs his move, like he'll do the little arrows on the ground ahead of him, so you can kind of see where he's gonna go. But then he does that big dash forward, and then he kicks you hard, and it doesn't necessarily kill you, but it can put you down to some serious damage. Okay, so it looks like N7 is at damage here, so he's dropped down that well to give him survivability, and then he's gonna unload of div while his team just pumps damage into him.
That div is going to absolutely give them immense amounts of damage.
Jones's team, however, is also at damage, and it looks like they're going to get to final stand here using tractor cannon instead of div.
Okay.
The benefit of tractor cannon is you get a bigger debuff. The benefit of div is it also lets you crit, so people can use different weapons that are more difficult to crit with. Ooh, okay, so Jones is on final stand, but final stand is tricky.
7 is down.
Oh, Jones got it! Jones got it!
Team is the winner!
At the last second! I don't know if you saw how close that was, but during the final boss fight, you start building Pervading Darkness stacks nonstop, and every time Rolk blasts with lasers, it just builds up more and more. So if you're not careful and you charge in there, Rolk will blast you with those Pervading Darkness stacks to kill you, and every time you take that damage, the more stacks, the less time you have, and you need as much time as possible because you have like an eighth of his health bar to chunk through.
That was
so
amazing.
The fact that they did that I saw Jones at 9 going into 10 when they got that clear. So that is absolutely insane that they were able to get that last moment. And just for I just want to talk though, N7's team got him down by 70% in one damage phase.
They're at the beginning of the K. For a 6-man team that isn't already doing this 3-man every day,
I want to point out that is more damage than Jones's team was able to put out. The only reason that I think they didn't have a chance of winning is just because Jones got here first. If they had both been here at the same time, I think N7's team could have potentially gotten the first kill.
Early bird gets the worm.
Yeah. It looks like N7's team has faster ability to clear this encounter. It was just a matter of who got to the encounter first.
Yeah, honestly, Jones's team did an incredible job getting through not only the first encounter, but that second encounter. That second encounter was genuinely crazy.
The fact that they were able to keep Caretaker busy long enough to give the other two the time to get the pillar done boggles my mind, because trying to solo babysit him is so frustrating because you have to hit him on the front and the back. So the fact that they were able to get him to stagger just enough to give them enough time was impressive. And again, that third encounter, the upended, where you just I still don't know how they timed their relics.
That's truly a race against time.
Hurts my brain to think about.
I wouldn't want to try it ever. Don't ever put me in that situation.
God, just doing it as a 6-man team I love it. I genuinely think it's one of my favorite encounters in any raid, but I love doing it as a 6-man team. You know?
The coordination that it actually takes to be able to do it as a 6-man is, it's just like you said, it's mind-boggling. It's so very, very difficult because the thing is that you have multiple relics to juggle. You have multiple things to think about. You have to always, at all times, keep everybody on their toes when it comes to survivability, when it comes to damage, when it comes to ad clear. It's so much.
When you consider that with the 6-man team, right? They had the ability to split into groups of 2s and 3s. So you had someone who was always able to assist with killing ads as fast as possible. The faster you kill ads, the less damage you're going to take, right? They had multiple people with either solar titans who could drop down sunspots for healing, warlocks with rifts and wells, like many different ways to heal and support their team. Whereas Jones's team, we even saw 1 or 2 times where they didn't have that. and that punished them in one or two instances where
Mhm.
just because you're solo, you're taking on so much so fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes
yeah.
you just don't have the opportunity to get the health to regen.
And the fact that there's only 3 relics, correct?
Yeah, there's 3 relics, which means
There's
all
3
three
relics.
have to have one.
Which means that they probably had to swap them at some point because you can only hold 1 per room.
So what they would have to do was they would have to put the relics down and then wait. They had to spend time waiting for their debuff to drop off before they could pick it back up again.
Which is, wow.
And here we go. N7's got his clear. All right, they got
the clear.
They got to 70% in their first damage phase, easily got to final stand, and then absolutely melted him without even a second thought. That was very impressive for a 6-man team. That was really good timing.
Incredible.
Right. I am going to bring in Jones and Darth Jar Jar to chat with us for just a minute here. Hello, Weeaboo Jones.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, winners.
Let me adjust that. We will get Darth Jar Jar back in here in just a moment. It kicked him like he said it would.
Okay, so we're having slight technical difficulties.
Yeah, it'll bring him back.
All right.
Jones, that was one hell of an impressive run. Hello, Darth Jar Jar. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. I'm assuming you meant to put me in this.
Yes. It did exactly what you said it would, and it dropped you.
Oh man, that run was bonkers.
I want to congratulate both you guys. That was a genuinely impressive run from both sides. I do not understand how you guys got through the third encounter, Jones. I know what it takes to do that, and my mind hurts thinking about the time.
If you would like me to, I can explain it how it works. A quick one.
Yes, do tell.
Okay, so there is a timer. Like, when you drop it, you can't pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
But the timer is actually shorter than how long it takes for your darkness to get up. So what you can do is, if you're fast enough, you can run. Like the shield person can run and then drop the relic, like the Aegis, and clear ads. And by the time you're hitting like 7 stacks, you should be able to pick it up and cleanse.
That's
And then if you noticed, he died in the second room when we placed down. It was to get it was to get rid of his timer so we could pick up the shield.
So it was a purposeful death in order to reset timers. Interesting.
Okay, now can you talk about the fact on the first encounter when you clipped through the wall?
Getting into the ring itself.
Okay, so that one was actually a 50-50. We had no idea if it was going to work. So we banked the whole run on it, basically.
Oh my gosh.
To get through the opening as fast as possible. And
we just decided today that we were going to try it. And
wow. So you skipped the first bit?
No, we technically have to finish it.
But we skipped having to run to the second encounter. So the second the first entrance finished, we started the second encounter.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So what they did, since you were obviously unable to watch, they still had to finish the relic escort, right? But what they did was once they cleared off the final relic area and it was moving towards it, 2 of them raced ahead and managed to clip through a tiny little crack in the wall so that they could run forward and have someone checkpoint by the time the relic finished. So they still had to finish the relic movement, but they were able to get that first checkpoint in the next encounter ready.
Now, question for you, Weeaboo. Just so you know, do you think that you would have been able to get to the point where you are if you didn't pull that off?
The first skip?
Yes.
I think that we would have finished at about the same time.
Okay.
Because other than that, it was a near perfect run. That is, we did everything almost perfectly except for Caretaker.
I think you had one wipe, right?
Our Caretaker wipe was pretty bad.
Yeah,
and
we
then,
saw that.
I don't know if you noticed, but our Rolk damage phase, usually he would be like a sliver left before final.
And we were actually wondering about that one phase.
Because it was interesting. Both teams, I gotta say, hand it to you, both teams, 2-phased Caretaker. Very impressive. Yes. Both teams skipped the 3rd level completely, which was impressive.
No, I mean, that's amazing. Because honestly, that is super annoying to do without a Strand Titan. I don't know how you guys did it with a weapon. and that is super impressive.
Just to go ahead and give some props to Jar Jar's team. It was incredible to see the amount of coordination that you guys had. 6-man teams are not always the easiest to be able to put
No
together.
wipes,
because of
maybe
the fact
one
that-
or two occasional deaths.
No,
They were
we had-
mostly
we had a
N7
wipe.
because he was that support role.
Yeah,
We did
and
have a
you guys
wipe.
You
had
did?
such
Wow, I
good
missed that.
communication, though. Such
Yeah, we wiped on the relics
Ah, okay.
because of so N7 left to join back, but it sort of screwed us over a little bit
So that's
because
what
if he
that
ended up behind a stop,
Because
he was behind a blocked wall, and that took away like 2 minutes for us.
Wow.
That's what
okay.
it was. Okay.
There's actually a chance that you guys could maybe
Yeah.
kept up just a little bit more.
I gotta say, it was also really impressive. Jones's team got to Roke first, but I think your team cleared him faster because Jones was able to get about half his health down in their first damage phase, whereas you guys got about 70+%. So if you had both started Roke at the same time, I think you might have been able to get the actual clear faster. It was just down to who got there first.
Did we see what their clear time was?
We didn't time it, but we were thinking maybe 40, if not a sub 40. It may have been a 39 something. Because it was like a 44-minute run, but we were also sitting in spawn for a while waiting for it to start.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I will say, like, majority of the time we saved, that's a props to Grim. She did all of the skips, all of the hard skips.
We saw that you guys would either. There was one point where you went to orbit to switch characters, and
Yeah, because she went out of bounds. I don't think she recorded it. I wish she had, but you can go out of bounds and like well skate, launch yourself up a wall, and skip the entire jumping section.
And we saw there were 2 or 3 times where you and Gus would hang back and let Grim yeet herself out there to get to the checkpoints.
For example, Rolk, she would pull us to Rolk.
And we saw the same from Jar Jar's team. There were a couple times where you were N7 would just yeet yourself forward while everyone else hung behind, so you could get that checkpoint, get as many people through as fast as possible.
I'm not gonna lie, it sounds like a bunch of
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would have been way
quick.
closer because our fastest run before that run was like 47 minutes. But like Grim, she pulled off her skips immaculately. She did not miss up a single one.
That is
like it is 100% props to her because even though we died at caretaker, she made up all that time with like perfect skips.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jar Jar, did
the
you guys
pre-match mind
use any
games didn't
bugs?
work.
So, Jar Jar,
No, we did it clean. We did a clean run, so we can take the moral high ground on that.
Okay. So you guys aren't understood.
How did you guys feel about Jar Jar, the third encounter? Because that's usually considered to be most people's least favorite and the most difficult encounter in not only this raid, but most raids because of the coordination and the communication that it requires compared to most raid encounters. How did you guys really handle that?
Probability.
I thought we were all right with it. It's one of those like we've done it a few times like recently, obviously, and like we all know what we're doing there. So there was no. It's like maybe there's like a couple of shouting, being like I need to get cleansed, but
did you guys
everyone sort of knows
plan out who was going to have what relics in what room, or did you kind of chaos strategy?
Nope.
Okay, so it's just whoever grabs it
just
goes.
Chaos. Yeah, it's grab and go. Like that was all it was. It wasn't really anything else to it.
All right, so you guys just were doing the takeout option. Gotcha.
Yeah. Speaking on third encounter, that was the biggest fail state because that is the hardest encounter for the trio by far. It is super tight, and there's a glitch that like sometimes the blights will just respawn and then the enemies just won't spawn.
And from what I remember, actually, the third encounter on this raid is actually the most difficult one in general. The day one, from also what I remember, that were you a part of that, by the way?
Yeah, I completed it day one.
Okay.
I think the hardest was Rolk, but I mean, third encounter was definitely up there.
From what I remember, N7 was telling me at one point that the day one third encounter boss was so incredibly difficult that even teams that came together from LFGs could not get through. Actually, a lot of the day one main raiders that you would see who have won in the past, they were actually having struggles in that as well.
That was the gatekeeping encounter for a lot of day ones.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
that was
so-
one hell of a race. Thank you guys both for participating. It was.
Thank you.
I gotta say, from our perspective, watching both teams was so much fun to see.
I
some of the
will
strategy
say,
come out.
we had no intention of winning that because for all of our fastest runs, they'd never gotten even close to what we did today.
Wow.
Like
Incredible.
I don't know, we did like that first encounter skip was part of it, but that's only like a 2-minute save.
If that.
Amazing.
So even then, like if we like with that, it was just I couldn't tell you.
Man, you guys are good. I have to
Yeah.
admit.
I say we do Crota next. I'm just saying.
You
We were
guys-
just talking about that. We said
Was
we'd
that
be
a
down
challenge?
for a Crota.
We can, if you guys actually really enjoy this, we can definitely set up another event like this again in the future, and maybe do a Crota run, or just
Shameless
to
plug,
really
shameless plug.
make it unfair, we could even try King's Fall.
Shameless
I
plug.
think Crota's the most unfair out of all of them for the sole fact of bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will definitely discuss possibly setting up another one of these up in the future because it was really, really fun.
Very fun to watch. Fun to be here. Fun time. Good times all around.
So once again, I will thank you guys for all coming and hanging out. It was a blast. Thank you for participating. Congratulations to Jones and his team for winning. Jar Jar, your team did absolutely
Well in, Jones.
fantastic
Well in, bud.
as well. And I think I will end it here, though. So
All
thank you,
right.
Son, also for joining me for this and commentating.
Anytime, it's your boy OG5.
I appreciate you. You definitely helped make this a entertaining experience to talk about.
Follow him on Twitter. He does really cool Spider-Man
That
pics.
is true. Follow him
Oh,
on Twitter.
shameless plug. Sun_OG5.
Shameless plug.
Twitter, Instagram. We're everywhere. We're out here. I'm starting new events. Spider-Man all day. Friendly neighborhood. Let's go.
All right. Well, I'm gonna end
Get the
it here.
shameless plug in.